Now, I want you guys to know that Yeshua talked about this stuff, and he also told the woman that committed adultery to like sin no more and all this stuff. I want you guys to know that there's something you should know, and I want to let you know now that the taxes would be considered, the government would be considered stealing. All the people that say allegiances to God all the time and then say they're not going to steal, but they work in the government, if you notice, the property taxes, the property taxes, that's a form of stealing. Sales taxes, form of stealing. Any kind of tax by the government. And the government sells bonds and then they get bond money. They become enforcers for this Federal Reserve, which could be made of banking consortium of other banks. So like a gigantic mafia. And then the government distributes money to like people with disability, welfare, government employees, and this is consenting with thieves according to the Bible, and you get the money from the government and blah 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 blah, and they'd be considered thieves and whatnot. Now my point being, and this is my proposal, private banks, they can make their own money and they can lend their own money, kind of like a cryptocurrency, how that's going. And you also have like an example, like I was doing a video with no minimum wage with Matthew 21 through 16. But this is what I would also do. I would get rid of the Federal Reserve and I'd have the government and the government bank. And the government can just print money for what they need. And then there's no bonds issued by the government. There's no middleman bank. The banks, as like I put down here, I would upgrade the Bill of Rights. And what you would do is you'd have a separation of banks and states. So this is what I'm saying with the focusing on this. The government would print the money because they'd have their own banking system. You could receive a stipend. If you do more work, then you would receive a larger amount of money. And you could spend that money where you see fit. So say somebody that's on a disability might only get $100 a month. And they might have to live in like a tent area outside where they don't have electricity, water, and all this other stuff. Say you want to be that guy that carries a cart of garbage around and takes trash to the landfill or whatnot. And maybe it's a private landfill that you operate. You might get a certain more amount of money for doing that. And people might pay to get rid of their trash. You would do like tests, like somehow like what they do in China, but not 100%, where if you have the highest IQ, you can work in the government and help formulate the exploration of space and all this other stuff. There would be no lending of money by the government. There'd be no bonds from the government. The government wouldn't have any debts. They would just print money and make money. They could make digital currency. And there'd be no taxes. There'd be a separation from government from banks so they couldn't be corrupted. And like I said, you'd have these IQ tests to put people in government positions. You would get rid of gun restrictions and you would allow pistol duels again. So if people had disagreements and wanted to fight, they could do a pistol duel or something like that. Or they could do boxing rings. Like if they wanted to fight, they could do a boxing ring and box each other or do MMA. You'd have like private banks can't do business with the government. So you'd have separation of banks and states. And then you get rid of restrictions on businesses. So if you wanted to sell alcohol, you could sell alcohol. If you wanted to sell marijuana, you could sell marijuana. If you wanted to sell whatever you wanted to sell, you wouldn't have those restrictions on businesses anymore. So they wouldn't be allowed to be control freakish on them. And then you would allow purchase of apartments and ownership of livestock anywhere so people could have food everywhere and be able to plant trees. You wouldn't have zoning laws and extra laws. You would have the Bill of Rights, with an upgraded version. So what you would do is you wouldn't have this, and you wouldn't have to have mandatory water and electricity bills or mandatory air conditioning. It'd be like what you can afford to do. So if everybody's receiving that 100, the more that you've are categorized on this category, not only with like IQ, but what you're doing in society, your value goes up. So if you're like doing research, then you get a bigger stipend. And if you wanted to rent, you could rent. But if you wanted to buy an apartment, you could buy an apartment or a little piece of land. So like all this stuff, and you wouldn't have a bunch of restrictions. You just have to pay the surveyor to look at the land and say, okay, you could build on that land. It's just if somebody's stuff doesn't flow onto your property so that you don't have to worry about them. But all this stuff can be done, and this will be a much freer system than a system that's constantly enslaving people. And I know that Yeshua would probably agree with me, because if you look at Matthew 20, 1 through 16, he was talking about no minimum wage, and you just get the money for what you're doing that day. So if everybody starts the whole day and they're all picking grapes or oranges or whatnot, they might each get 30, 40, 50 bucks for the day. And maybe another guy gets $300. You never know. But that's my point. Thank you for taking the time to watch. And I hope you like my proposal, because I'm definitely going to add on to this stuff. And I'm going to keep adding on to my proposal here.